Sometimes the most powerful business strategies aren't hidden away in some thick 100-page report. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight, in just a single sentence. Today, we're going to unpack one of those ideas, a concept that really flips the script on what it means for a company to actually grow.
So here it is. At first glance, this line from a training document, well, it looks like pretty standard corporate speak, right? But the magic is really in the details. See, it's not talking about growth as a result, like profit. It's talking about growth as a value, as a core belief. Every single part of this sentence presents a huge challenge, and today we're going to take it apart piece by piece.
So that's our central idea. We're deconstructing this strategy. Think of us as detectives. We're going to examine each word like it's a clue to uncover the deeper meaning. And I think by the end, you'll see how this one simple phrase actually holds a blueprint for building a really resilient, adaptable organization. Let's get started with the first piece of the puzzle. Okay, let's zoom in on that phrase. Notice it doesn't say growth is a goal or a target. It says growth is a value. Now, this isn't just about semantics. That one little word changes the entire game.
So what exactly is a corporate value? Well, it's definitely not a number on a spreadsheet. It's the organization's DNA, its guiding star. Values are the why behind the what. They're the things that shape the culture and guide all those little decisions, especially when no one's looking.
And this leads us to the big question, right? How can growth actually be a core belief and not just an outcome? We're all conditioned to see growth as numbers, more revenue, more profit, more users. But when growth is a value, it's about something totally different. It's about fostering a mindset of continuous improvement, of relentless innovation, of investing in your people's skills. It becomes a behavior, not just a result you see on a chart. Okay, so we've established that growth can be a value, but that brings up a massive problem. If it's this abstract belief, how do you actually measure it? This is where the strategy moves from being philosophical to being really practical, and honestly, this is where it gets tough.
This slide puts the core problem in a nutshell. On one side, you have financial growth. That's easy, right? Revenue, profit, you can measure that with dollars and charts all day long. But on the other side, you have value-based growth. How do you put a number on your team's creativity or quantify the trust your customers have in you? Think about a company like 3M, famous for letting engineers spend 15% of their time on whatever projects they're passionate about. That policy creates an unbelievable innovation culture. But how do you measure its direct impact before some breakthrough product appears? That is the real challenge.
All right, so let's just say you figured it out. You found ways to measure these abstract concepts, maybe with surveys or by tracking new ideas. That brings us to the final and maybe most crucial word in our sentence, evaluate. Because just collecting the data, that's only half the battle. The real question is, what does it all mean?
And here's the key distinction. Measurement is just the act of collecting data. It answers the question, what happened? But evaluation is all about assessing the meaning of that data. It answers the most important question of all, so what? It's the point where you look at all the numbers and you ask, are we truly living our value of growth? What does this tell us about who we are and where we need to go next?
So we've broken the sentence down into its three core parts, right? Treating growth as a value, tackling that huge challenge of measurement, and then performing the critical step of evaluation. Now, let's put it all back together. This is the synthesis, and it's where we really see why this one little idea is a potential game changer.
When a company truly masters this, something pretty profound happens. All of a sudden, its strategy and its culture become one and the same thing. The focus shifts away from just hitting this quarter's numbers to building real, long-term, sustainable health. Abstract ideas like innovation and trust, they become tangible. And maybe most importantly, leaders get a true north, a compass to guide every single decision they make.
Ultimately, this is the big takeaway. When you can successfully measure and evaluate growth as a value, you stop chasing it as a quarterly target. Instead, it gets embedded in your culture, in your processes, in your people. It just becomes part of who you are as an organization. So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. If a company says it values something, doesn't matter if it's innovation, integrity, or growth, but it makes no real effort to measure it, does it truly value it at all? Or is it just words on a wall?